Wait a minute, I thought this was how they got the Death Star plans. Welcome back to Bizarre Podcast Dogs Must Die. My name is Grant, could call him Chip, and we are talking about some very different Stardust Crusaders today. The entire thing all at once, but probably focusing on the last quarter or so, because a lot of shit happened. And in order to do that, we are joined by another very special guest. Please introduce yourself as you would like to be introduced.
Yellow, it's VoidBurger. Sup, motherfucker? I don't know. I am Chip Cheesum's domestic partner. And I also do Let's Plays and streams, and I am currently having a real cool gig with GiantBomb.com, making a commissioned little show situation called VoidBurger's Hot Takeouts. It's new, sorry. And it's just like dumb gaming opinions, and we're gonna see if people get mad at me. I don't know. It's fun. So far, so good, but there's only been one episode, so we'll find out.
There might be two by now. Again, this is going up in the middle of October.
There will be two by now, so I can talk about the next one's topic. I hope people don't get mad about me bringing up Firewatch after all this time.
I think it'll be okay.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
I think it'll be fine.
The Giant Bomb fans are very nice, so that's good.
It's one level above the average gamer, I think.
At least one level.
It's people who are willing to think about stuff and not just go, why isn't this game 3,000 hours? And also, why is Kratos getting into the boat with the same animation as before? Why doesn't he backflip into the boat now?
And also, why is the girl talking?
Yeah.
This girl needs to shut up. Which is a comment every time I do a great debate video, which is also a thing I do. Me and Bob Vids make Silent Hill related videos when there's any news about it, which there isn't. So we don't make a lot of videos about Silent Hill. It's slim pickings.
It really seems like all Silent Hill news these days is conjured by fans wishing for there to be Silent Hill news.
Like, what are we going to do? Report on people's dreams they had about a Silent Hill game? Like,
Eventually, we'll get there.
Hideo Kojima blinked today in related news.
You know what's at least like a dozen steps above, your average gamer, your average anime watcher. So that's what we're here to talk about today.
It's true.
I broke tradition last time we had a guest on, so I have to make up for it by giving another theory on why JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is so popular. JoJo's is popular because it is an action series where men have earnest emotions. Eventually. It doesn't start that way in part 3.
I'm nodding. Yeah,
but it gets there. And that is unfortunately rare. Like, the beginning of Stardust Crusaders is very much in, like, sort of the James Bond mode, where, like, people clearly have feelings, but they are too cool to share them. Mm-hmm. Eventually, by the end, as we go through this journey and we build these bonds, they are much more open, and they are generally very manly emotions of camaraderie and loyalty and honor and all that stuff. But they are embracing, and they are saying how they feel and communicating. It's what I appreciate about the Fast and the Furious series. It is in that same vein.
I agree. That makes sense. I think one of the reasons that Stardust Crusaders is my personal favorite arc of JoJo, it's the relationships. I really like all the characters and their broship with each other, and it's very typical, like, enemies become friends sort of thing. But I feel like it's like a little more, I don't know, there's something a little more meaty to it in this. Like, you really feel the strife they go, this crazy crap that they go through is like something that will bond anyone together, no matter how much they hate each other at first. Like,
even the fart dog.
Yeah, even the fart dog. Polar, genuinely mourning the death of this dog he hated this whole time,
Yeah.
And also like us, like as viewers, like, you know, seeing Iggy be this little piece of shit farting coffee gum loving dog, and then like the pet shop episodes happen and you're like almost about to cry for this noble beast. Like, you know, I think it's really incredible, like Araki's able to somehow pull that off, and it almost makes me feel like I have no like object permanence or something. He tricks me into becoming like a baby. I don't know.
I think there's a lot of little things throughout the show that also makes you feel like they're becoming closer friends throughout the whole thing, because even though you don't see a lot of these moments, there's plenty of times where they bring up something that had happened off camera that was just like a stupid like hangout thing they were doing, like, you know, for instance, Polnareff, you know, asking fake Jotaro like, hey, do that cool cigarette trick you do. When did they show that off? When were they hanging out where Jotaro's just like, check out this cigarette trick I can do?
Hey, Polnareff, check out this cool trick.
Now I just want to hear Jotaro say cool trick.
Cool trick. In recapping all of these episodes, because I was not watching alongside with Chip watching all these episodes, but occasionally I would like pop in and out and be like, oh shit, cool, it's this episode rules. It's like I had to do a lot of catching up. So basically in the past 2 days, I watched episodes 4 through 35-ish, skipping the ones that, you know, I remembered very well, and like kind of skimming the ones where I was like, oh, this is the one where this happens. But a lot of them were just like, oh, fuck yeah, I'm watching this whole thing. This episode's so good and so weird, and I need to see all the shit that happens in it. You know, I kind of had to watch this in the English dub just to like do it fast enough, because I was playing it on 1.5 speed on Netflix, which I don't recommend, but it is super fucking funny by accident. Like, please edit in the clip of in the Bast episode when Joseph is getting fucked up by the escalator and being like, hey lady, help me.
Oh, I really thought you said 5 times speed. I didn't know Netflix went up that high.
God damn. Now, I would have definitely finished the whole series at 5 speed.
Joseph just sounds like an insane person at 1.5 speed when he's trying to get Mariah to help him. He's just like, hey lady, this thing started to crush me. I'm trying to push the escape button. Why are you listening? Please help me. Lady, your thing's wrapped around me. Oh my god, lady, please help me.
You there, lady in the micro miniskirt. I need you to help me out. Please, miss, I'm begging you. Not to be rude, but your chain's wrapped around my body, and it'd be nice if you'd get it off me before I'm shredded to pieces. There's not much time, so if you could push the emergency stop button, that'd be swell. Come on, lady. The chains are pulling me tighter. This thing's gonna rip off my hands and feet.
It's really fucking good.
It's super, super duper funny. Also, like, the music gets like insane sounding at 1.5 speed. But yeah, that is the fastest Netflix can go. Thank God, because I know there's people out there that like just watch things at that speed, which to me is insane.
They want to see how much stranger the things can get, and they want to know right now.
Yeah, so it's just like, I can't imagine like retaining any of this information on 1.5 speed if you hadn't seen it before. So like, please don't watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure at 1.5 speed. Watch it at the regular speed. In conclusion, it's nonsense at 1.5.
I think talking about, you know, how the main cast becomes more open with each other, you know, probably one of the biggest examples of this, although it's a very subtle gradation from the start to the end, is Jotaro and how he acts, where basically you go from Jotaro just being rude boy,
oh, the rudest boy,
to at the end begrudgingly liking stuff.
He is the most tsundere character I've seen in my life, maybe.
You never see him smile with his teeth. All you get is the slightest smile when he looks at the photo of all of his friends at the end in the plane.
If you actually saw his teeth, it'd be like weird. I'm trying to imagine it. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, that would be weird.
That would be weird. What if he doesn't smile because his teeth are bad?
That would be the biggest giveaway that that's Oingo and not actually JoJo in the backseat.
Yeah.
I tweeted the face that Oingo makes during that, because it's just like one of the funniest faces I have ever seen. And one of the reasons is because you don't see Jotaro's teeth ever, and I didn't realize like that's why this is so funny, is because you don't see Jotaro emote ever. That whole episode was way funnier than I remembered it, by the way, and only partially had to do with going like almost double speed. It was funnier. Remember when I first saw that episode, it was one of my least favorite episodes. I think it was because it has this like nightmarish quality where no one believes you and no one will help you. And this is a really strange situation and it's dire somehow, but it's really goofy, you know, but it's stressful, even though it's really absurd. And I think I just didn't like that when I watched this episode initially, and like going back to it, having seen like the rest of the series and the other stuff that Araki, you know, not spoiling anything, but Araki does stuff like that a lot more from this point on, that it's kind of like quaint to see, and it's like, oh, this is like one of the really good ones actually, where there's like an absurdly nightmarish situation that everyone's being a big dumbass and can't help you with.
I really liked, you know, doing other stuff, and you were just like talking out loud to me while I was like getting a drink or something. Like, oh man, this is the episode where the guy changes face to be Jotaro, and he knows that will make the orange kill him. And even though I knew exactly what she's talking about, it's still just really fun to hear those situations said out of context.
Like, that's a sentence somebody says when they wake up from a weird dream, and you're just like, what? Honey, go back to sleep. What? No.
The orange is going to kill him.
The orange is going to kill... Nobody's helping. Everyone's making it worse. And the dog came with the orange, too, once you thought everything was fine. So I kind of went off on a tangent earlier, but I was going to say, like, one of the things that I do like about this season so much is not only like the camaraderie-ness, the broship of all the dudes in it, and how that kind of like slow simmers to become like the ultimate band of brothers, but also like I really like the format of the adventure of this one. It being kind of like an Indiana Jonesy sort of like globe trekking adventure is really cool. I like having a core cast and a Monster of the Week format, but in addition to the Monster of the Week format, there is like a big bad guy and a main goal, and that goal is like always on their minds no matter who they're dealing with, generally speaking. Like it's always in the background, like we're doing this because we need to find Dio, we need to save Holly, and it's like restated over and over again that like that is the goal of everybody. And I just like that basic format more than like one dude versus one dude. One guy's good, one guy's evil, and there's a couple friends along the way. I don't know, you know, and then you've got like the Pillarmen, which are basically like just the core monsters, basically. And there's not like a ton of other like Monster of the Week type variety going on.
There's straight so to get owned in one episode and then get Joseph onto the main mission.
Yeah, but I like the mixture of like the variables of all these Monster of the Week type folks with different wacky powers, but also there's a core mission that everybody's on board with and is the driving force of the plot. So it has this like variety to it, but it still has this focused core to it that I think still makes this like a really strong story, even though it's incredibly off the rails constantly at the same time. So that's why I like it. There I go.
I think one benefit that Part 3 gets from that episodic structure is that it lets you compartmentalize. Like, it's really easy to skip over in a rewatch or just in your memory the bits you don't like. You just don't worry about that stand fight and get to the next one. You can't do that for, like, Stroheim. You know, without that chapter-to-chapter structure, you can't really do that anymore.
The only bit I wish I could forget of Stardust Crusaders is Alessi, the pedophile guy. But that being said, his stand is the coolest stand ever, and I'm really fucking annoyed that Araki gave it to a pedophile. That just sucks. Like, don't do this. It's the coolest idea. This sucks.
You know, many episodes ago when we were actually on that set of 2 episodes, we were just talking about how we really wish he did cooler stuff with his stand. Like, there's tons of times where Polnareff, locks himself in a room or something. It's just like, wouldn't it be cool if he could just use his stand to age through the wall? Like, just turn it into dust and shit, just like Terminator through walls with it? That'd be cooler than just making babies.
That'd be cool. Making babies.
Making babies.
There is not a lot cooler than making babies, okay?
You heard it here first. The coolest thing is making babies.
I forget because I skipped that episode because I was like, oh yeah, this fucking guy, I remember him. He's got the cool stand, but he misuses it to be fucking gross. Did his stand work the opposite way? Did it age people as well, or did it only?
It's never shown to.
Yeah.
Okay.
It kind of would be funny if he did like turn people into just like shriveled, wrinkly, on death's door, like super geriatric dudes.
An interesting idea. How painful would it be to turn somebody back and forth into a baby and an old guy? Just like in your organs and bones. Yeah, like your the growth spurt alone would hurt so bad. Like that would hurt so fucking much to go back and forth between those states.
But then it would have to be a Joseph fight, because anything that is like a betrayal of the body, it's always a Joseph fight.
No, Joseph, he had the worst shit happen to him in this. Oh my god. Ugh. Like, constantly. Obviously, I have not watched or listened to the previous episodes of this podcast because I am too busy. And also, I live with Chip, so I can just ask, like, how was the podcast? And he'll be like,
I mean, you usually hear half the commentary anyways because I'm usually shouting.
Yeah.
And even though the door is closed, you can hear me all the way in the bedroom sometimes.
Yeah, you're like screaming about JoJo, and I'm just like, it's this episode.
You heard about Kakyoin's fursuit. You know all the important stuff.
She extremely knows about Kakyoin being a MILF-loving gamer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An egg-laying, MILF-loving gamer.
God, right, we need to talk about that later.
Let's keep going on. I guess this is 1.5 topics ago. Generally speaking, what makes a good stand? What is a stand that's like, hell yes, that's a cool stand?
There's a lot of different types of stand fights, even just within Part 3. But I am just always a big fan of stands that have some sort of power that usually leads to any fight where powers can be recontextualized in multiple different ways, either to be more creative within the fight or like some of the best stand fights in Part 3 are stands that just allow the show to do a different type of story than normal. You know, when it comes to either of the Darby fights or, you know, like Death 13, shit like that. None of those are punch fights, really. And they all are just like, hey, here's JoJo doing like a weird Twilight Zone episode. Here's JoJo doing a gambling, you know, like a high stakes gambling episode. And they those stands just feel like vessels for like, Araki wants to do a different type of story that maybe normally would not fit into a shonen manga. But hey, because stands are flexible and can basically do anything, you know, you can turn anything into a fight. That's the type of stands I like the most.
Yeah, I agree. And I also like, you know, in comparison, I think the worst uninteresting stands are ones that are just like, here it is, this is what it do. Like, you know, the tower is just a big fast bug. What if there was a big bug on a plane? Like,
the Wheel of Fortune is just a car.
Yeah, I think the most boring ones are ones where it's just like, it's just a really fast bug, or it's just a really fast punchy guy, or this man controls water. It's like, yeah, well, okay.
I think a good stand comes from specificity.
Yes.
Like having a very specific thing it can do, and like a predictable ability that can be used in unexpected ways. Like, oh, I never expected you to do this with it, but now, because I know what your stand does, I can expect this will be the result. And isn't that clever? Isn't that fun?
Yeah. Creative problems that demand creative solutions. I think that's like the best format for a stand. I'm thinking of Bastet, or Bast rather, but it's like a simple idea where it's just like, what if you could just make certain things magnetic, but like there's extra gimmicks on top of it besides, like, wouldn't that be a fucking nightmare if all these metal things stuck to you? It's like, also you're attracted to, you know, you're magnetically pulled to other people that are magnetized, and also it gets worse as time goes on, so eventually you're just going to have your body crushed. You know, Bast herself has all the freaking nuts and bolts in her bra. Like, that's a creative ridiculous fucking thing to do, just in case like they get too close to me or something. And then like they have to do the extremely creative solution of just being like, we're just gonna smush together and just get her like she wants us to get got by her.
One of the most exhilarating moments of like actual peril is, I think, when the power lines are coming at their faces and like degloving from the insulation wrap.
Yeah.
Stressful.
That episode also asks the question, wouldn't it be really scary if you just started fucking your best friend in public?
I mean, a nightmare we've all had.
I also, speaking of reoccurring nightmares, Polnareff and his toilets. Chip knows this about me. I don't know if everybody listening knows this about me. I have reoccurring nightmares and dreams all the time of having to, pee or poop in the world's most disgusting nightmare toilet. And it's always different every time. There's always something else that's fucked up and wrong about it. And I never realize I'm dreaming. And just like rewatching this arc of JoJo, I was like, man, Polnareff, I get it. This is exactly the shit that happens to me in my dreams.
I've always wondered how much the toilet stuff with Polnareff was planned and how much Araki was just like, wow, I keep accidentally writing Polnareff into situations with bad toilets. And then he started acknowledging it after a certain point.
I feel like a lot of Araki's stuff, but especially like this arc, kind of is him bragging about all the travel he's done and wants to do. And like he's always like writing all these like kind of great tips about the culture, like in these different places, like, oh, here's how to haggle and stuff like that, which I think is like super charming. But I think part of the like whirlwind Araki's tour of the world here, part of that is like, here's some fucked up shit. Their toilets are not like ours. And so Polnareff is just like the mascot of, the educational edutainment mascot of this country's toilets. They're not like ours. And it just screams that like Araki went to this place, found the world's most fucked up toilet and was like, I got to put this in my manga.
And then you see that same impulse turned around on an outsider's perspective of Japan in the cinematic classic Cars 2.
And also Joseph hating the warm water and the hot cola and the you drink tea instead of coffee. I love his like weird like kind of fish out of watery sort of like, I don't get why your culture does this, and then there's always somebody else there being like, isn't it wonderful though that they are different like us, so that nobody gets mad at him, I guess.
Usually Avdol.
Yeah,
Avdol and Kakuin, yeah, they really double team that side of the coin.
They are very worldly and accepting.
Everyone's trying to rein in the slightly racist grandpa.
So as a big Joseph stan, I still love him. I still love him in this. He just gets better with age.
Well, you cannot deny your husband.
No, he's wonderful. I just adore Joseph Joestar so much. And another reason I'm pissed off at the set episode is that Joseph does not get de-aged to be hot Joseph again. I will never forgive Araki for not doing this. Like why didn't you do this? It's right there for you. I'm so pissed.
It's been pointed out by people who have listened to that episode and some of the other previous episodes of our show. But yeah, everyone has informed us multiple times that like, hey, basically every single JoJo fighting game has Alessi as a playable character, and you can de-age Joseph into younger Joseph mid-fight. So yeah, everyone knew that's absolutely what should have happened. So every fighting game make sure to fix that.
I want like a director's cut of Stardust Crusaders where it's like the only thing that's different is that.
So while we're talking about Joseph, what do you think makes a good stand user in general? A compelling character, or someone who's just fun to watch?
Charisma. I think it's charisma. I think it's a combination of charisma and comedy. Like ideally, because they have to have this like serious side that's going to fuck you up. And I do like that a lot of them become groveling, stupid, please don't beat me up idiots at the end. Dan of Steel is a lot of fun to watch. Oh my God. Yeah.
The best part of the Lovers episode is Dan of Steel himself.
He's so funny. Like he's very full of the charisma's off the charts because he's so full of himself, and you can't wait to see him get beat up. Like, oh, like it's so investing to know that this guy's gonna get the shit kicked out of him, and you just can't wait to see how.
I think we pointed out that one of the really fun things about Dan of Steel is the fact that he doesn't act like he's invincible the whole time. Like every single time Jotaro grabs him, like, I'm just gonna punch you anyways, even though it'll make my grandpa explode. Every time he like grabs him by the cuff of the collar, like Dan of Steel's face just goes like, oh God, like I'm gonna get fucked up. Even though that's the whole point of his stand. Yeah, like he still gets scared when he's actually gonna get punched, even though that's how he works.
Yeah, I think having emotional texture, right? Exhibiting more than one mood, reacting along with us, the audience, is a really important thing for a good, memorable stand user.
You know what?
Yeah.
I was thinking of Anubis, the sword, and how he doesn't have a user, so he is his own. Like the stand itself has the personality, so that was kind of like an interesting twist on the whole thing to begin with. But Anubis is very confident and threatening for a very long time, and then the instant he starts throwing himself into the Nile, he becomes the funniest character in the whole arc. Maybe like it is so fucking funny to see this like super cool, super threatening like persona god guy become this like groveling idiot who reminds me of Legoshi from Beastars. Like he becomes like an awkward goober. All of a sudden, he's just throwing himself into a river. The self-own is the funniest thing ever, but his reaction to it is just like, he knows how much he fucked up, and his emotions are completely off the walls all of a sudden. It's so funny to see that side of this Egyptian god, basically.
Yeah, it's funny to see him go, oh good, I'm gonna stop myself from going into the river because I'm gonna crash into this brick wall, and then he's, oh no, I was too nervous, I phased through the wall. Like I was too freaked out and I fucked up.
And then like him hitting the cow, like he panics too much to realize like, oh, I can just possess the cow, and then it's too late. Like
just acting so polite to the little fishies and crabs.
Yeah, calling them Mr. Fish and Mr. Crab.
It's this unexpected second side. It's funny because it seems like it would be you'd get tired of it because it's a similar joke most of the time where this really, really tough person, they get owned, they become a groveling, sniveling fucking idiot. But for some reason, the flavor is different almost every time it happens.
I think another important thing that I look for in a stand user is their own skills and expertise that they use in conjunction with their stand.
Yeah.
I like that.
Darby the Gambler, he's got a stand, but that's really just the way he ends the fight. Everything else is just him gambling. His stand doesn't help him cheat at all. I mean, I guess Darby the player does, but like there's that part where he's just showing off to himself and the audience that like he can just flip through a page of the book and stop and know by feel what page number he's on and shit like that.
Yeah, that's an incredible skill.
And even with the main cast, Jotaro a lot of the time just punches shit real good with Star Platinum, but also sometimes the fight is won by him psyching people out or, flexing so hard he can grab a sword with his abs. It's not always his stand. Like I think I think it is cooler when the talents of the person themselves and their stand interact together to create powers that the stand itself does not have, really.
Yeah, and I like when stand users plan ahead. Like, Darby was a lot of pre-planning. Like, everyone in this cafe works for me. That kid over there, or whatever. That cat, I know that cat. Or something.
I know that cat. That cat, I know that cat.
Planned. I appreciate the planning aspect that a lot of the stand users put into augmenting their stand powers so that they have the best possible chance of winning when they do have a confrontation. And also Bast did this as well with the trap, the booby trap bra.
Geb's incredible senses letting him attack from, miles away.
Oh yeah. That's a really good one actually.
Yeah, that's just him. That's not even his stand power. Oh my god, that's just a talented dude. Holy shit. I'm looking at my notes and episode 12, I wrote down Joseph's arm adventure. Because I didn't want to watch that episode because it's so gross. I just realized that technically Alessi, he has an augmentation, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
What if he was actually good with the axe and not just a guy with a big axe?
Yeah.
His axe labeled axe. In case you don't get what it is, it says axe on the axe.
Question. Okay, so Strength, the monkey, the orangutan that has a boat.
The genius orangutan that has a boat.
Is him being a genius part of the stand power? I don't think so. I think he's just very talented because his stand power is a boat.
I don't know, Void, if this is in your notes or not, but I remember you asking me this around the time of the strength fight.
Oh, yes.
His stand is the big boat, and everything inside of it is made of his stand. What is the shower water? What is that?
I think it's ape piss. I don't know.
That just makes that episode worse because now you've just got a naked 12-year-old girl bathing to 8 piss, and I don't like this.
I mean, everything appeared to be a working ship. The radio is a real radio. I have to believe that's real, actual, like, shower water. Because if it was anything else, Polnareff would be in the shower.
Oh, man. Imagine if we got an alternate version of the episode where it was just a nude, beefy Polnareff.
Hello.
Because, like, there are all those fucking ass shots of the little girl, and you've just put Polnareff in there instead with the giant beefcakes in there, like...
That would be way better.
Same camera angle, so you don't even see his ass. He's too tall for the for the frame.
Yeah,
it's the back of his knees.
I think another aspect about like the characterization of all these enemy stand users is it sets up a really circular relationship with Dio and how like they both prop one another up. Like these stand users are so creepy and scary because they're devoted to Dio's pure evil. And Dio must be pure evil if these scary creeps are so devoted to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's not just a monster of the week thing. Like each monster reinforces and reminds you of not just the plot, but it hypes up Dio as this incredible final boss. Like how badass must he be and how charismatic must he be if he was able to recruit all these people and animals and a sword like
And a baby.
like, you know.
And an evil baby.
Oh my god, those episodes, holy shit. It is like this, you said it perfectly, that it's like a circular feedback. This next person's terrifying. You think that guy was bad, he was working for Dio. Dio must be even worse. And like every time before they die, basically, they're always hyping up like, you know, how incredible and gorgeous Dio is every time.
Yeah.
So it's like really good, it works.
I mean, even part 1 establishes that a tiny bit by just the fact that in part 1, Dio is able to recruit fucking Jack the Ripper as a lackey. So, and also if Jack the Ripper had shown up in part 3 somehow instead, what would his stand be? I've been trying to think of this earlier for some reason, and I couldn't really figure it out.
Imagine if Jack the Ripper and Anubis got together. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
he loves knives. What's a sword but a really big knife?
I just remembered that during the sword episode with Anubis, they pronounced katana all fucked up, and I had to pause and be like, what the hell?
Katana.
Katana? Who the fuck said this line like that? Did they tell them to do that? Fuck. And also just hearing Jotaro like over and over was painful.
Yeah. Very used to Jotaro instead of Jotaro.
Yeah.
Uh,
I got more used to it, but it never really stopped making me flinch and be like, who? What? Eh? Can I bring up how sick the theme song is? Like,
yeah.
so this are like both themes are fucking kick ass. I love them both so much. The outro themes too. Holy shit! And I think that the themes only get like better from here on out. Basically, I mean they've all been really really good, but I feel
They're
like
all really good.
I just really 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 like Stardust Crusaders intro so much. It's so sick. Seeing the part where the world comes in blew my freaking mind when I first saw it. Like I fucking screamed.
So
like, bloody murder screamed in excitement. That was the coolest fucking thing. I'd never seen any cartoon do that before. Like not just anime, like any animated thing. I've never seen anything do something like that and that cool. And it fucked me up. It was so cool.
I want to bring up, because Void, I don't know if you remember the first time you watched basically the entire end of Stardust Crusaders, because we were watching part 3, and then it was like, well, we had to take a break for, you know, a week or 2 or whatever because we went to fucking Disney World.
Damn it.
And I was sorry, I didn't mean saying like that.
Fucking Disney World.
But I was like, oh man, I can't wait to see, you know, what's going to happen in part 3. And so I had like the last like 3 volumes of the manga or whatever, and just like read them on the flight there.
Oh, right.
And so I knew what was going to happen in the ending. It was like, oh man, Void has to watch the rest of this. So the instant we got back, we watched the rest of Stardust Crusaders, and you were high?
Was I?
Yes, you were high enough, and we watched basically the whole Dio fight and Vanilla Ice fight all in one go, and you got real fucked up because you were a little high and everyone was dying every episode. and you got fucked up.
I can't believe they killed Iggy, and I couldn't believe that they killed Avdol so quickly.
Yeah, you were like shell shocked, and I felt a little bad.
I was like, no way, because when he fake died, they drew that out longer. He already fake died, so I was like, when he dies again, it's gonna be even more emotional and dramatic and oh my god, but it happened so quickly and so senselessly. He wasn't even really protecting anyone or doing anything particularly noble. He was just being look out, don't look behind you or something. And then he just gets fucking turned inside out and eaten into an alternate dimension forever. No, hardly any fanfare. And I was like, no, this can't be happening.
Yeah.
It's upsetting.
And also when you were thoroughly convinced that Joseph actually died.
Yes, I thought because why not?
He
Everyone
did.
else was dying.
I mean, yeah.
He absolutely did die. He got better, but he died.
Do you think when Joseph died, his actual literal soul flew out and talked to his grandson for a little bit and then ascended to wherever souls go in JoJo land? Mm-hmm. There's a part where he was just hanging out with the souls of his other dead buddies, and then all of a sudden he just starts getting sucked back up. It's like, what the fuck? Where am I? Uh-oh.
Caesar, it was nice to see you, but I gotta go. I gotta answer some Weird Al Yankovic trivia.
Oh my god. Yeah, because the instant Joseph wakes up...
Bo Derek needs me. I have to go.
The instant Joseph wakes up, gets brought back to life, he immediately does the Dio joke, haha, you shouldn't have brought me back to life because I'm just Dio in your grandpa's body.
Grandpa.
He must have been immediately thinking of that joke as he was, his soul was flying back down to Earth. He needed time to think of that joke.
Oh, I'm gonna prank my grandson so good.
Yeah,
hey, Mom, it's great to see you. This is really the first time we've talked since I found out you were my mom. Weird, right? But anyway, I feel my heart beating again. You're not going to believe what I'm about to pull. Okay.
Yeah, I want a spin-off manga that's just seeing that shit happen. Which that reminds me, there is a official spin-off JoJo manga that was announced along with Part 9 that is going to be about Whole Horse and a character from a later part of JoJo having adventures. Yeah. So we're getting more Whole Horse shit in the future. Crazy.
What?
Yeah. It's being written by the guy who did one of the crazy novelizations about George Joestar II or whatever, the World War II or
the guy
World
with
War
no
I
powers.
pilot. Yeah, the guy who got owned by a zombie. Yeah, anyways. Just funny thinking that Joseph must have been thinking about that joke while he was still dead.
So while we're talking about the ending, is Star Platinum stopping time a good story twist? Is that satisfying? Because I can clearly see the for and against arguments, and I'm sure they are in the comments of our last episode.
Yeah. It definitely feels like one of those things where right then and there when Araki was writing, he's just oh, actually, what if these stands are actually just the same? Mm-hmm. And I like the idea that oh, maybe they have the same stand because Dio, has Jonathan's body, and if Jonathan had a stand, it also just would have been a Star Platinum style thing. So that makes sense that maybe further down the line, the generations of the same bloodline, that same stand pops up and all that. So I'm not that's bullshit or anything. I think it would maybe be more satisfying if throughout the rest of Part 3, it had maybe been foreshadowed that Jotaro had this time-stopping power and he just didn't realize he was using it.
Maybe Star Platinum gets faster and faster and faster throughout the arc or something. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's wow, he didn't used to be this fast. I didn't even see you move.
Because as it is, it seems to come from nowhere. It's Starfinger again, right?
Yeah, it's if there were earlier fights where Jotaro was pushed to his limits and then all of a sudden, bam, the guy just gets super fucked up and even he doesn't know how that just happened, and that's a mystery. And then it brings up the idea, which hasn't really been brought up yet, it kind of does eventually in later parts of JoJo, the idea that how do you know what your stand can do?
Yeah.
The idea that maybe Jotaro from the start just knows that, okay, I can tell that my guy punches really fast because I've just tried punching and it came out super fast. You wouldn't have the idea to try and flex a muscle and stop time. So if he gets pushed to his limits, accidentally does that, and then eventually when fighting Dio realizes, wait, is this what I've been doing this whole time? And realizes, yeah, I can actually stop time, but only for like half a second right now. Okay, let's start practicing this. That's kind of what it feels like, but just not fleshed out enough.
Yeah, like the premise is feasible, but the presentation is just like,
yeah. I can definitely see the perspective also where the idea that somebody else has this power diminishes Dio's power, right? Like his whole thing is he is the undisputed master of time. He has a world that is all his own, and the answer to that is, not really. He's just kind of dumb. And also it closes the door on JoJo winning a fight through, his cleverness and coming at things sideways the way he's done so many times. But like it also, like you say, heightens their duality and their intertwined fate, which I think is really important for this fight.
Yeah, and I do enjoy once Jotaro goes like, oh, I can move for a little bit when he freezes time or whatever, up until the point, like everything other than just like the end where he's just like, yo, I've just frozen time now. I think it's cooler that he has almost like a more limited version of what Dio's power is, where it's like, I can't freeze time myself, but I can move when he freezes time for like half a fucking second. How do I make that work? Which, a big part of that fight is him trying to figure out, I can punch basically once. How do I get him close enough, and how do I make this a killing blow? Which, like him having to play dead and give himself a fucking heart attack and stuff like that was super cool.
Yeah. I mean, we do get we do get our own brand of that JoJo cleverness, manipulating the power in ways that Dio isn't anticipating.
Yeah. So I think most of it works. I think the only part that, falls a little flat is just after the steamroller bit, he's just like, oh, actually, I froze time. I'm just right here. I'm going to kick you really fucking hard now.
Yeah.
Like, that part could be cooler.
Yeah. It's a problem of delivery and not of, concept, I think. But I understand why people don't like it.
I've never been too, annoyed or disappointed with that climax just because the whole journey leading up to it was really satisfying. And the killing blow on Dio, almost doesn't, matter to me because it really feels more like the victory that JoJo has over Dio is just putting a crack in Dio's ego, really. Like the real victory of JoJo there, I feel, is when Jotaro's able to get Dio close enough by playing dead and just smash his fucking brains in. And that makes Dio, Dio's shaking and actually terrified and scared. And that really feels like, oh, that's where Jotaro won, because he fucked him up so hard that all of his confidence, immediately got shattered.
Yeah, because that's his real power is his charisma more than anything. Dio, I mean.
It is a terrifying sensuality that one wouldn't expect from a man.
Yeah. So yeah, punching a pretty boy in the face who knows he's the prettiest boy.
It's worked so many times. That's the most foreshadowed thing in the whole fight.
I know, right? Anyone can grovel if you get him in the confidence. And it's been, also already established that Jotaro is very good at bluffing, and getting under people's skin if he really tries to. So I think this is also kind of a culmination of that pre-existing incredible skill of his to just out-bluff, out-think, of course, out-punch everybody. It does kind of come down to feeling like it's more punching, but I think his window that he got to punch Dio was afforded by, his wits and his bluffs and stuff like that. And
that's why, even though Star Platinum is really just big beefy punch guy, I still think it's a pretty cool stand. Because it's just, how do you get the punch in there on guys that are generally unpunchable?
And that's where the support comes in from the character of having a skill that is not related to the stand, Jotaro's skill.
Also, I'll just say, I still really love the design of Star Platinum.
He's cool.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a cool looking guy with glam hair.
I'm trying to think of who's my favorite stand design. I really liked what was the stupid Three Wishes guy? He was fun.
Is it Justice or Judgment? I always get
Judgment.
Those two.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Justice is Enya's stand.
Right.
The fog one.
Yeah. Judgment, the genie in the lamp guy. I liked his design, and I also liked his swagger. That was a stand with charisma.
Hierophant Green has a hell of a cool design, honestly.
I love Hierophant. He feels...
Cool.
I like his little like chest triangle.
Yeah.
He's very tokusatsu to me. Honestly.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. He feels very tokusatsu.
Yeah, even though it's just a knight guy, I like Silver Chariot a lot because he's got like normal eyes, like so he feels like he feels like a character more than a lot of the other some of the other stands that are just like fucking weird.
I've always thought Silver Chariot was kind of cute looking.
Yeah, he's a little cute.
It's something about his face. He's kind of cute.
He's got like a
You
meta
do see
knight
him
face.
as a baby.
Oh,
It's
that's
true.
Yeah.
He is a cute baby stand.
Adorable baby stand.
I'm sad that there's that flashback right before Kakyoin tries to figure out how Dio's stand works, and he has that flashback to when he's little, and you do see Hierophant Green, but it's just like the normal version. You don't see a baby version for when Kakyoin was a baby.
That might have broke the mood of what they were going for.
I guess so.
but-
I guess. I just want to see a baby Hierophant Green.
When Polnareff and Star Platinum were little babies, he should have done the sword launching thing, but there's a spring that launches the sword instead.
Or it's like one of those little missiles that you shoot from an action figure.
What's with all the mouth stuff?
There's a lot of mouth violence, isn't there?
Why all the mouth violence?
What's with all the toilets? What's with all the mouths? What's with Polnareff almost licking a toilet? You got a combination there. A lot of mouth stuff, though. You're right.
That's even worse because, Polnareff being forced to lick the toilet is when he has a hole cut through his tongue. So that's going to get in there, and that's going to really fuck him up.
That one innocent bystander that had some nails in his mouth and it got magnetized to Joseph.
Oh, that
and
one's
it went,
really bad.
Went through his cheek. It's like, that's just some fucking guy. That sucks.
Is it because the mouth is such like a sensory center? You've got there's a whole extra sense all in the mouth, never mind how many nerve endings are in there? Or is it because it's your seat of speech, a point of mediation between the self and the world? Is that why we're attacking mouths so much?
I could see that, definitely.
This also applies to a lot of the hand violence. I mean, a lot of the hand violence is just ways to maim Joseph without permanently maiming Joseph.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of other hand stuff too. A lot of people lose fingers over the course of, especially the final stretch.
Oh, yeah.
I think the mouth stuff, though, kind of also ties in with the nightmarish qualities of a lot of these scenarios where it's just this is an absurd, perilous, stressful situation. I feel like a lot of people have dreams where it's my teeth are falling out, my tongue is split, I can't stop drooling, or I have a dream where I have gum just stuck in my molars and I cannot get the gum out of my molars.
That's going to be a stand at some point.
Yeah, it's just
That'll be in part 9.
I feel like there's just a lot of subconscious. It's a subconscious mouth trauma thing that we're drawn to be ugh, icky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons why mouth violence is so prominent, but it's in the same way that dog violence is prominent. It's just to get a reaction. I can't when I try to look at all of the full list of them. I can't find any unifying argument that applies to a lot. There are a few cases, I think individual bits of tongue stabbing relate to one another, like Polnareff giving the same wound he got to a different stand user weeks later. That's significant, the same way that Kakyoin and Dio both get punched straight through, literally through their gut. But I don't know if mouth violence has a single thematic bit of weight to it.
I think it's just everybody would hate if that happened to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really just feels also a product of the time part 3 was being made. There was a lot of hyper violence in manga and anime around that time. And sometimes it just feels like a guy thinking, what's the most fucked up way this person could get fucked up? I don't know, their eyeballs get exploded and chewed on, or
yeah, you'd honestly expect more eyeball stuff.
I was gonna
honestly.
say,
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, is there any eyeball stuff? Not really.
Maybe Araki knew that would be censored if it was eyeball stuff.
Yeah, because that stopped him so much.
That's true. That's true. I also don't know if there's any sort of difference in censorship when it comes to maiming different body parts. I don't know. But it also might be a cultural thing. Maybe like Americans have more of a squick factor with eyeball stuff, and Japanese people have more of a squick factor with mouth injuries. It's like when I found out like Japanese people think we're fucking weird for having a clown phobia.
Yeah.
Americans are just scared of clowns, and they're like, what?
I think we're fucking weird for having a clown phobia. It's like, I think a lot of people are exaggerating how much they don't like clowns. I'm saying
agree.
it.
I agree.
I don't think it's as real as much as it is a bandwagon thing.
I'm only scared of them in a social anxiety way. Please don't bother me.
Leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
I don't want to be a part of this clown shit.
Keep walking, clown.
I only want to be a part of figurative clown shit.
Speaking of all the like just random violence that happens to characters, especially just innocent bystanders, I've kind of always wanted to know how many innocent people throughout Stardust Crusaders die. What's the body count there?
Oof.
It's got to be fairly high, right?
Somebody must have counted.
The big question you have to ask is, was that village dead before Enya got there?
Yes.
Right.
That's the biggest body count part, I think.
Hundreds or maybe even a couple thousand people, maybe.
Got a bunch of dead guys on the ape boat.
And the plane.
And the
Oh,
plane. Yeah. The tower like just kind of buzzed right through like a whole row of people that were all sleeping. Can't believe everyone slept through that.
It almost feels like that stand should have had the ability to put people to sleep or something.
Yeah, it's like, why is everybody so goddamn sleepy on this plane?
I think collateral damage kind of reduces once they get to Egypt.
It does.
Not to zero, for sure, but only some of those people in the patio cafe died when Joseph got the knife to the throat.
Right,
Where
yeah.
I feel like earlier, all of them would have been gone, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of like innocent lives lost in the previous parts, and young Joseph around for like mass death. Like stuff blew up, but everyone was fine in like that cafe fight with.
I mean, there were all the people sacrificed for blood experiments.
Well, yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was
Nazi blood
that was gonna
experiments.
happen anyway, regardless.
Yeah.
Those 100 vampires had to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, there isn't like a gratuitous example of collateral damage the same way there is in like, yeah, the strength fight for one.
That monkey had no regard for human life.
That
The
guy,
humans had no regard for monkey life.
Fair,
He was locked
fair.
up in a cage. Wait a minute.
That
He
was
was
his.
pretending to be locked up in a cage.
That was his cage.
There was a play for sympathy. This monkey is devious.
It's a smart monkey. He has porn and a Rubik's Cube.
did he make that porn? Did he produce that from his stand?
Is the Rubik's Cube his stand? Because then he'd be cheating putting it together, right? That's not very smart, right?
I mean, cheating is the smartest thing you can do. I learned that in 2 derby fights.
It's a very biased Rubik's Cube. That's the only way a Rubik's Cube can be biased, I think.
So we were talking about comparing Stardust Crusaders with previous parts, and that reminds me, I think it's interesting that a plot that begins with tarnishing the legacy of Jonathan Joestar, I think ends with really rebuilding it. Honestly, that's how I read the final fight. That Dio was defeated by all 3 JoJos cooperating, and he would have destroyed any of them one-on-one.
Yeah. That bit during like near the start of the Vanilla Ice episodes where Dio basically like kind of confirms that Jonathan's body is still fighting him. Mm-hmm. That's super cool.
That's really cool.
Like, Dio has, like, the literal flesh and blood of the Joestars, but Jotaro succeeds because he has, Jonathan's, honor and Joseph's guile. Like, it is about legacy, but not genetics, which is something that a lot of franchises with their, fated families, they get iffy on sometimes.
Yeah. I'm imagining there's an alternate version of Stardust Crusaders where once Dio's body explodes, the soul of Jonathan also emerges from that, and you get to hear him talk for a bit. If the story went way harder with the idea of Jonathan is technically still alive with his body fighting Dio or whatever,
Right.
if they want more little with that.
I also think it's cool that, like, Jonathan was the only person Dio couldn't corrupt.
Yes.
Like, even in death, he's incorruptible. Like, he's so noble and so good that he, even, like, in this scenario, he's still fighting. Like, that's really fucking cool.
I know a lot of people, for various reasons, go like, you can just skip part 1 or whatever, or Jonathan is, whatever. But I like Jonathan Joestar.
Yeah. I mean, he really is the benchmark by which JoJo's must be measured, and ought to be. He's a nice boy. He's a good boy.
I also feel like, skipping the first part is like, it's really a big disservice to the whole, how crazy and how batshit things really do get. You can appreciate how off the rails and, unique things become when you have that beginning as a comparison point, because it just started as two willful lads, like fighting over father's fortune, like, like such noble, like such humble beginnings. And now we're like fighting a zombie vampire, bisexual in Egypt. All these crazy rando strangers have powers. There's Egyptian gods involved. There's a dog with magic powers. There's a baby. Like, I feel like that shit feels less crazy if you don't know that this had the humble beginning of two willful British chaps quarreling.
Yeah. And especially the conclusion, like the final arc of Stardust Crusaders, doesn't feel so much like a sequel to the first two parts, the way that Battle Tendency does to Phantom Blood, but a conclusion of all of them. It really does tie a lot of strings together that began in those parts, not just as, oh, isn't that nice, but like really grabbing hold and bending that arc to a conclusion.
Like, this feeling continues into later parts of JoJo as well, but with part 3, this is where JoJo has finally lasted long enough that it feels like there's history to the show now. Like, when it's like, oh, you're finally meeting up with Dio and fighting him, you can see his face again. Or, the part where Joseph brings up Granny Arena to Dio, and he's just like, oh, that fucking backwater shrew or whatever. There's such a connection to part 1 and 2, but the show makes it feel like it happened so long ago. You really feel the passage of time with it. That's just super cool to me. That I love that aspect of JoJo.
And like, even though this kind of caps off like the inciting incident of all this, like, okay, Dio is actually vanquished and da-da-da. Or is he? I don't know. I haven't like read all of the parts of the manga. He might come back. He probably does. I don't know. But this is a good like
every other one. That's what I'm expecting now. Every other one.
You can probably set your watch by that. I don't know.
It would make sense with Dio to come back every once in a while because Dracula does that.
That's true.
He's a vampire. He in Castlevania reappear every 100 years or so.
Even though the immediate, legacy is kind of capped off in a nice way here, it's still going to like continue through the bloodline because they're just interesting people with an interesting history. And even though like it's not going to be always a completely direct descendant of Jonathan necessarily, there is still like this through line of that eventually ancient feeling history that gives the whole thing this kind of grandiose feel of like destiny that kind of just builds on itself. And I think skipping part 1 is like you're kind of truncating it in a weird way.
Yeah, the JoJos do agree. Nothing more fun than making babies. They love it.
Oh, just you wait.
I am very sure this hasn't happened with any of the parts in JoJo yet, but I want to see a sci-fi JoJo in the future.
Oh, I'd love that. Oh.
I want to see what Araki's vision of the future is like.
Dude.
Should have kept with the 50-year skips. Always 50 years every time.
Yep.
Man, that would be so sick.
I want to see JoJo in the year 3200. What's that like?
I want to see like they're all in the Matrix or something. Like they've all got like they've all downloaded their brains and their destinies to some sort of weird interplanetary internet or something. Like I don't know.
The Matrix is just one guy's stand.
Yeah, obviously. Do not kill that stand user or we're all fucked. Do not do it.
I want to see a Robo JoJo.
They already had fucking cyborgs in the fucking 1930s, so...
So it's plausible.
Yeah.
It's plausible, yeah. If you can make a tummy gun, you can make anything.
Are there history books within the world of JoJo where you can just look up Stroheim? Like, he has to be a notable figure for being the only cyborg Nazi. There just at least has to be a paragraph somewhere in a history book that brings up the extra special Battle of Stalingrad where 300 men were killed by a cyborg.
I like to imagine that there was some sort of cover-up involved in that.
Yeah, that feels like something. The paperwork got burned. Everything regarding the project in Mexico, and now there's some like, did you know that in 1938 Nazi super scientists, like, nobody believes that shit.
Right.
Fuck that.
Is it the Speedwagons Foundation's duty to cover that shit up?
I think so.
How
Yeah.
intertwined are they with the American government these days? Are they a completely independent organization still, just doing their own Speedwagon shit, or...
Their office is on the land that became the Senate office building.
That's
they
right.
are deeply, intrinsically
God.
tied
That's right.
with the...
That's right.
The Speedwagon Foundation is so secret that, like, we as Americans in the real world don't know about it. Like, that's how good they are.
Fucking Dick Durbin gets on the wrong elevator and he's face to face with Santana.
God. How much work did the Speedwagon Foundation have to do to, like, cover up all those times they worked directly with Nazis?
Probably better than we've covered it up as Americans.
Just as good as NASA, which is to say we don't talk about it. We just don't talk about it.
I'm guessing Dio just didn't know about the Pillar Men, because it really feels like he would have broken into the Speedwagon Foundation and recruited Santana as another stand user, if he could somehow give Santana a stand.
Stantana.
Or else Santana becomes the loser vampire. And, like,
Yes.
that would be an interesting development for
You can be my intern.
for the Part 3 remake, because all of these discussions turn into, like, what if we got an extra pass? What if we got a draft? And there are even elements of the anime that are that way, like the all the added Polnareff scenes in the judgment fight.
Which make that part way better.
Or even the flashback to Kakyoin's childhood. Apparently that was at least expanded, if not invented, for the anime.
Okay, interesting.
And I think that really makes Kakyoin's character, honestly, it adds a whole dimension to, like, what is at stake and what is the thematic weight of this final fight. Like, Kakyoin is an isolated child, tempted by Dio as, like, the one person to, like, reach out and really understand him, even though it's not for any of his own good. Is this the first depiction of, like, the web forum to alt-right pipeline?
Damn.
Web forum to flesh bud pipeline.
And like, we know that this is something, this is part of Dio's MO. Like, Geb is Kakyoin's dark mirror in that way. The way he talks about Dio is like, his fucking school guidance counselor that really believed in him for once.
The power of charisma.
And then we talk about, like, the beginning of this episode, the fucking like, positive male relationships and bonding. Like, it's de-radicalization.
Yeah. I'm on board.
Are you telling me Stardust Crusaders is woke now? Now I have to get angry and post about it, as Lord Dio would want me to.
Can't believe they're hanging out with this brown guy. Ugh.
Oh, man.
Jeez.
I'm just imagining Dio, like, commanding all of his servants to, like, post on the internet and make bot accounts.
Laughing
Also, if
maniacally.
any of the Stardust Crusaders are canonically gay, it's Avdol. I don't know why I think that. I just honestly do think that. I don't have, like, a textual reason for it. I just get a vibe. I don't know.
No, I kind of get it from Avdol, actually. Yeah.
I think Kakyoin's bi.
Oh, yeah. I see that for sure.
It's the only way he can lay an egg, like...
Yeah. Duh.
We'll get there. Fuck, we'll get there.
How did Kakyoin lay that egg? So we're talking about Kakyoin laying
God
the
damn
egg.
it. No,
We got
later.
there.
Before we get to that, just going over the whole main cast, it is funny how many character arcs Polnareff gets.
A lot.
Right?
Yeah.
He gets a lot.
It makes Kakyoin look like shit. Like, it makes Kakyoin look like he's not even in this party.
There is kind of a recurring thing with all of his character arcs, I guess, with Polnareff, of him almost having, like, survivor's guilt. Like, all the people he cares for die, and he has to keep carrying on without them. You know, that happens with his sister, that happens with Avdol twice, that happens with Iggy. Like,
Polnareff.
Polnareff's just a guy cursed to outlive all of his loved ones.
and run into the world's worst toilets.
Yeah, that too.
It's a bad life.
You think the story might have been like the crew as a whole might have been better served if Polnareff also took a break? He's the only non-JoJo to not have a time away from the group.
Yeah.
Unless you
Should've had
count
a
like the
little
first 4
vacation.
episodes, I guess.
Yeah,
He deserves a vacation.
he does. He really. Yeah.
Polnareff's day off. He just would have gotten fucked up by some. Every time he's alone, like someone attacks him.
Because he's just the dumbest of the group.
He's such a dummy. I love him. I forgot how much I liked Polnareff.
The funniest Polnareff moment is when he is watching Joseph do peekaboo with the evil baby, and the baby's giggling, and Polnareff's just like, "That's not even funny. What's the joke?"
I don't get it.
The stupid baby doesn't even understand. It's like Polnareff has never seen a baby.
No, he hasn't. He does not know what diapers are for. He's never seen a baby.
Yeah.
I also like that there's a little bit of implied jealousy that he doesn't get the joke of peekaboo. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't get it. It's not funny. I wish I enjoyed that.
He just wants Grandpa Joseph to play peekaboo with him.
He does get a chance to be Grandpa adopted at the end, and he passes it up.
Right.
So, like, he's gotten over himself by the end. That's his character development.
Yay.
No more grandpas, no more mommies.
Does Polnareff, like, permanently develop, like, a weird thing after that whole being a baby thing?
Man,
Yeah.
whole thing.
Because, like, he doesn't seem to really remember it once he becomes an adult, but there is a brief moment where he's like, wait a minute. Mommies?
Mommy?
Never mind.
I think he's fucked up for life because of that, subconsciously. He experienced a lot of trauma as a toddler. There's
Yeah.
a lot of scary shit that happened to him.
A lot of trauma as like a 28-year-old toddler. Yes.
Scary.
I think it's a shame that Joseph is the only person to fight Dio that doesn't injure him in some way. He never lands a shot.
Oh, yeah.
And like part of it is that he doesn't have like a very offensive stand, which comes up time and time again. But it would have been nice if like the Hamon singed him a little bit or something.
That would have been so cool.
He does that really cool thing where he wraps himself underneath his clothing with his stand and has Hamon channeling through it to like give him a shield, which is really cool. Yeah, I just wish... Like, I understand why Dio doesn't fall for it, because he's had so much experience with getting owned by Hamon in the past that he's extremely cautious of it now.
Yeah.
But damn, it would have been cool if, you know, Dio regenerates super fast and shit. It still would have been cool if, like, he lopped off one of his hands.
Something.
Yeah.
Let Grandpa fight.
It just feels like a missed opportunity that his only that everybody, at least everybody living, really did have material support in JoJo's final victory, and Joseph's was basically just to be a messenger.
Yeah.
And by that point, Avdol was already dead.
Yeah.
He had no input in that, even though it's like, man, like without Avdol, like they wouldn't have even gotten here. Like his expertise and everything, like he was so invaluable to the team. It's like so tragic that he's, you know, he gets ganked so early before they even get to actually have the showdown with Dio. It does
Feels
ramp
bad.
up the stakes, but it feels really bad.
Like, I kind of like that Avdol goes out in that way a little bit, just because, I don't know, it feels a little more real. Like, not everyone's going to die a hero's death.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just go out and that's it.
There's also something notable that Avdol is the only one there for the greater good, like for justice itself.
Yeah.
Everyone else has skin in the game, something personal to prove to themselves or a mother to save.
Or revenge on Dio because Dio, you know, did this to them, flesh butted them or whatever.
But whenever it's like Avdol's internal monologue, it's like, this dude fucking sucks. I'm a goddamn superhero. This is what I do.
Yeah. That's why he's so fucking cool. Like, he doesn't have to do this, but he's doing it. Like, that's cool as hell of him to do. Thank you, Avdol.
Yeah.
Avdol Appreciation Podcast.
Love that Avdol. Love his character design in general. He's just a cool looking guy.
He's cool.
His earring necklace, you don't see that every day.
Yeah, his earring necklace, man.
I really liked his English voice actor a lot. Because this is the first time me doing this recap speed run was the first time I had really like heard a lot of the voice acting, the English voice acting.
I think they all do a great job. I think
Avdol was like my early favorite, though. I was like, this is a great voice for Avdol. Like immediately, I was like, yes, this is exactly what he should sound like. Others I had to warm up to a little bit. I did like Joseph immediately, though. I thought he was pretty much perfect. Jotaro was one of the last ones I warmed up to. I don't know why. He's just McCree in my head. I don't know.
I think Iggy is the only one that is like hands down superior to the original voice.
Yes, he is straight up better in the English dub.
Because he's got like a Danny DeVito thing going
good.
on, right?
Yeah. I think Dio is great. It is a shame
really
that he
good.
doesn't do the screech, but I think his acting is great.
Yeah.
He is awesome. I forget that voice actor's name, but he's in a lot of stuff. He's Endeavor in My Hero Academia, I think. But yeah, he's a really good Dio.
I really like. I mean, I brought him up earlier, but Justice or no, Judgment, his voice was hilarious. I don't know why. I just really liked.
Do you agree with me that it's Optimus Primal doing Santa Claus?
Oh.
I don't know if Void has heard Optimus Primal before.
Okay.
The Optimus Prime from Beast Wars.
Oh, Optimus Primal. No, I'm
Yeah.
unfamiliar.
Monkey Optimus.
Monkey
Gorilla Optimus.
Who is also a genius and could probably do a Rubik's Cube really good.
A rigged Rubik's Cube.
He's captain of a ship? Like, come on.
Yeah, man.
You're probably right. By the way, are there really pig toilets? This is not
Wait,
related
what?
to anything.
I'm
Pig
sorry, what?
toilets? Are there?
Oh,
are
pig
those
toilets.
Real pig toilets?
I thought you said big toilets, and I was just like, where is this coming from? Why is my girlfriend
for
asking,
big
are there
butts.
big toilets?
Well, COVID has maybe gained some weight, and I was thinking of getting into some big toilets from a big butt.
Pig toilets.
Pig toilet. I'm sure there are where the poop just goes into a pig pen. I'm sure that's real, but is it really close enough that you have to like hit the pig with a stick so you don't get your bits chomped off?
So I just Googled pig toilet.
No.
Why? Why did you do that? Why would you do such a foolish thing?
In an incognito window, I hope.
A pig toilet is a simple type of dry toilet consisting of an outhouse mounted over a pigsty.
How many feet can the pigs?
I'm looking at pictures and I can't tell how close the pigs are. Oh, wait! There's the pig! It's not underneath the toilet.
You gotta link this.
Oh no, we're getting into the part of the podcast where we're just looking at pictures no one can see. But
It's tradition, baby.
it's tradition.
I'm sorry. I
This
had
is
to
when we
ask.
get our second wind.
Look at that
every
pig.
time.
It's next to the outhouse.
Oh, he's like deep in. Oh, it's next to the outhouse. What?
But who knows? Maybe there could just be a toilet suspended right above a pig's mouth.
You know, space is at a premium.
Yeah.
They don't have this much square footage.
Would a Rocky make that up? Is my question.
He made up stands. He can make up
I
a
know,
pig's
I know,
toilet.
but is he falsifying? Is he falsifying the toilets for dramatic effect? Is my question, because I feel like he tried to get, or at least tried to represent it in an interesting and educational way. It's like a travelogue. Like, oh, go here, have this food, haggle. I feel like
You
part
want
of
to do
it.
the Stardust pilgrimage. You want to follow the red line across Asia. And if the toilets aren't particularly strange and disgusting,
I just feel like everything else has this ring of truth to it, where it's like, here's how you haggle. This is the type of tea they drink. It's like very factual. To muddy the waters with a fabricated toilet, that just throws me off. So I'm wondering if there is such a toilet where there's a pig head basically right there, and they give you a stick, and that's for bapping the pig away.
I'm curious about the instant desiccation open air desert toilet.
Oh, yes.
Well, I
At
don't
the
think it
beginning
was.
of the Bass
I don't
fight.
think that was instant.
It looked pretty instant.
No, that was poop that was already there. Polnareff came in. I just watched this episode. Polnareff went into the fucked up little outhouse. He went in, looked at the poop was pre-dried up because it had already been sitting there, and it rolled away and it got destroyed. Turned into sand, and it's because it was somebody else's poopy. It was not Polnareff's fresh poop.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it was somebody else like 10 seconds ago.
No, not 10 seconds.
There was a
no.
line. There was a line, and Polnareff was at the end of it.
There was not a line.
I'm sorry, I just looked over back at my Google results for pig toilets, and the part where people search for other things, we've got questions such as, do pigs eat anything? What is pig poop like? What is pig poop like? Do pigs eat humans? Are pigs the dirtiest animal? Do pigs eat meat? Why does pig poop stink? Can you burn pig poop? Why does my poop smell like pig poop?
Do pigs eat anything?
Famously, they eat lots of things, practically anything, as the legend has it.
I just like to think someone's Googling this because they got a pet pig and don't know why it's dying.
I open up the question, do pigs eat anything? And Google just says, in bold, a pig will eat anything. And it's got a pretty cute picture of a pig.
Oh, do pigs eat anything? Not do pigs eat anything? Wait, do pigs eat anything? Not anything?
Why does my poop smell like pig poop?
It's because you eat anything.
It's more like, will pigs eat anything? Not can, do pigs eat anything?
Yeah.
Anyway, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
JoJo's
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, yeah. So when they resurrect Joseph, I love that part. I love that part for, I mean, obviously it means Joseph's not dead, but also it shifts the victory from like killing Dio to doing the impossible. That's even the quote, right? Like, and so they cross the line to being real heroes rather than these like personal vengeance dealers.
Yeah, they're actually able to bring back something that Dio took. Not everything, but at least one thing.
And there's very little they can. Like Dio was about to launch his great plan of world conquest after, defeating JoJo. He didn't get there. He didn't leave a lot undoable to be undone.
Yeah. Going back to that thing that came up in part 2, the idea that JoJo's die young, or just JoJo's cannot complete their mission without dying. And so Joseph being able to escape death literally like basically a second time is kind of like, yay.
Yay. It feels like a curse is broken,
Yeah. The curse that Ario's Speedwagon was so burdened with. I just want to bring up real quick that I love the couple of scenes with Rosas, the butler for Suzy Q,
Yeah,
because he's just carrying on the legacy of Speedwagon of just eternally worrying for the Joestars.
It's a noble role to plots about the Joestars.
This just proves that no one man can be all that Ario Speedwagon is except for Ario Speedwagon.
Yeah.
Somewhere there is a hammer guy, somewhere there is a knife criminal, and like these are the various branches that together they can Captain Planet into Robert E.O. Speedwagon.
I love he might have done it more than this one time, but in the episode with Anyaba, when Whole Horse is like dealing with Anyaba, he kind of has this Speedwagon-y role of just shouting what's happening and explaining everything. It's like, I'm getting Speedwagon vibes from Whole Horse.
He really looks like he could be a descendant. Like he
does
visually.
Though.
He's a blonde, buff dude with a mullet. He looks close enough to Speedwagon. He could be related, potentially.
Yeah.
The Speedwagon scientists started a cloning program because Robert never settled down with a fine lady wife. His heart only beat for Jonathan.
Lifelong bachelor.
Yep.
Well, I forget that the last episode just kind of ends with them on a plane going home. How nice is that?
Yeah.
The first time they've ridden a plane where nothing bad happens. Ever.
Yet it freeze frames. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
That plane is not landing on its wheels.
God, yeah, imagine you just start watching the first episode of part 4 and it's just the plane with Joseph and Jotaro on it just in a burning wreck.
Flaming
and they're both
wreckage,
dead. They died seconds after the end of part 3.
Tragic. What are your expectations for part 4, Grant? Do you have
I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I don't know nothing. I'm left twisting in the wind because there's
totally,
no part 4 preview.
Totally no info for like you're going in completely no whispered rumors on the wind of what's in store.
I know some things. I don't want to say what I know because I don't want to spoil people like in the same like seat as I am. But
okay, fair.
What I don't know are very important things like who is fighting who and why. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the gist. You're gonna want to know that.
like our new JoJo, I know his name and his connection to the family.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
With some holes in there that I'm sure will be filled in.
Do you know where it takes place?
No.
Okay.
I know it
Cool.
takes place in a very colorful place.
Yes. Okay. Cool.
Like literally, like I do enjoy what I've seen of the palette.
Yeah.
And how breaking from the more muted and representational colors of part 3, at least until things get wild every episode.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of the color palette that's usually reserved for shock reactions in previous arcs, they're just kind of used a little more regularly in
It's
the
just
next
everywhere
arc.
all the time,
It's just
basically.
a lot more like psychedelically. Not that there's too much psychedelic shit happening, but the color palette is definitely a little more creative and varied than you've seen in the past, and that is an exciting, fun little change.
But yeah, as far as who this JoJo is as like a person and who or what they're going to have to fight and why and
how.
nothing. I got nothing.
Cool.
I don't know.
Very exciting.
Are there still ghosts that fight, do you think?
I don't think stands are ever going away. Like, I know for a fact stands are never going away.
Yeah.
They're too cool, they can't.
I did, as promised in last week's episode, I did watch the OVA version of these episodes, and like I wanted to talk about some of the differences because there are a lot of like fine-tooth differences. Like Kakyoin shows up to do an 11th hour rescue instead of just like before they get to the door, which is cool. There's a lot of little things like that, like the Vanilla Ice fight plays out mostly the same but in a different setting. But the character notes and the tone changes are the biggest, most interesting changes to me.
Yep.
Yeah, remind me, because it's been so long since I've seen it. The only part that I super remember about the OVA, which was made, it was like the 90s, right?
Yeah.
This was made relatively soon after publication, honestly.
Wow.
As far as, the production timeline of animation goes.
Okay. The only thing I remember really about the OVA is that Satoshi Kon worked on it, and you can tell. I don't know how familiar you are with Satoshi Kon's work, but
Oh yeah. I'm a Tokyo Godfather's head. Absolutely.
It's a good ass movie.
best movie,
Right?
God,
Really good
it's
Christmas
so good.
movie.
Jesus, I love that movie. But like, especially like Satoshi Kon's more like psychedelic, dreamlike works, like perfect choice for like the Dio scene where he's in that guy's car and the guy runs out of the car and he like stumbles back into the same car.
Yes.
Like
yes.
that is like 100% like Satoshi Kon bullshit.
You
And
can
I was like,
definitely
oh,
predict
perfect.
like the match cuts in Paprika from that
Yes,
sequence for sure.
Absolutely. I love that part, and it's like really the only part that really like stuck with me for some reason. I don't know what are the big differences.
The big differences are that the goofiness and the cleverness are gone. The goofiness entirely and the cleverness much less so, replaced with more gruesome physical violence. And
Yes.
Yes, I do remember that. I remember thinking like this feels a lot less fun, but a lot more like gritty.
Like Vanilla Ice is not defeated by realizing, you're a vampire now. I've trapped you to step into the light. He's just stabbed a whole lot more times.
Yeah.
Or JoJo doesn't pop out droopy dog style from the manhole. He just steps on Dio's hand on the street by the manhole.
Yeah, it definitely feels like the OVA is trying to up the cool factor.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure,
like,
for sure,
In
for
like
sure.
a 90s way.
Yeah, what was viewed as cool back then, which was just like fucking punching dudes, you know? Also, like I think I brought this up maybe last episode, but yeah, the sound design, both the music and sound effects and the soundscape is very different from the David Productions anime because it's a lot more sparse. There's a lot more quiet moments than the current anime, which is, music all the time.
It works so good though. Like I feel like the music in JoJo in general is really, really an iconic part of the whole aura of it. Like that's why some of the music stings themselves are just memes.
Yeah.
Like they're
Yeah.
they're so impactful. They're so memorable. Like they are such an integral part of the pastiche, the mystique of JoJo, and how cool it is and how strange it is. And like music and sound cues are used incredibly well in that way. So, and it is more of a modern anime thing to kind of like have all these layers of sound and compare it to like late 80s early 90s stuff where it's just like, oh, we're just punching guys here, we don't need to orchestrate it. It's cool enough that they're getting punched, right? We don't need a big orchestra sting for it.
Iggy is treated very interestingly in the Dio parts of the OVA because he doesn't have Pet Shop. So like that very important part to his character journey is gone. And so it's replaced with, when they're entering Dio's mansion, which is 10 times the size in the OVA. This building's gigantic. Avdol has a little moment where he's like, hey, Ig, it's cool. I know you're not ride or die like the rest of us. Have all of my gum and you just chill out with the car, okay? If things are cool, we'll come back for you. I understand.
If things are cool. I have a feeling they're not going to be cool, though.
And then by the time they get up to the coffin room, Iggy has, like, snuck in behind them. And when Avdol realizes that he has decided of his own free will to, like, join the group, Avdol gives him a little smile. And it's a really sweet moment.
Aw.
Yeah.
It's too bad in the OVA that Iggy just doesn't die from getting kicked. He gets his whole goddamn head cut off.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he
Jesus
gets torn in
Christ.
half
Whoa.
by Vanilla Ice.
It's fucked up.
Oh no.
That poor dog doesn't deserve that.
You see his guts. His guts come out.
Yeah.
Iggy.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Iggy doesn't deserve that shit. Goddamn.
I kind of like the change they made to our Holly cutaway. Instead of some comedy moments of Susie Q taking pictures of unhoused people, she's just there. And our moment with Holly is her stirring and giving her like goodwill toward her son and father while she is still comatose. Like the doctor confirms that she's still out. She's giving these words regardless anyway. And that happens in the moment where Jojo punches down the door to enter into the castle.
That's cool.
I like, once everything is settled, it like Holly just like gets better, gets up and is like, yay, they're coming home. And she just knows. And it's like, that's great. I like how immediate that was, that's some very nice, cathartic closure that she's just like immediately better.
I think the most notable difference in characterization in the OVA version, though, is Jojo himself. He gets outwardly nervous. He is sweating a lot of the time. He's grimacing. He is frightened, and like
that's bullshit.
That's not my Jojo. That's not my Jotaro.
Mm-hmm.
Who's this boy? I don't know him.
The most Jotaro looks worried in the David Productions version of the Dio fight is when the steamroller is falling on top of him, and he just looks slightly concerned.
Like, yeah, this version, he is stone cold determined the whole time. And in the OVA, I think because it follows immediately after Darby, a fight that he wins by being that way, that this is supposed to be, this hard cut, hard flip that really sells Dio and puts him over. When you have all these fights in between, I think it's a better choice for the format, for the full adaptation format to, have Jojo be at his most Jojo.
Yeah.
Yeah, like seeing him express like any lack of confidence is so strange to imagine. Like his main personality point is that he is so inexpressive. So seeing him sweating is just like, what the fuck? Like this, it's not like, it doesn't instill like drama as you might think. It's just like, this is out of character.
Yeah, you can imagine a story where Batman is broke and gives people nice hugs, but but without the right context, it's going to be pretty weird.
Yeah.
It is funny to see that, like, by the end, it really does feel like, Jotaro has changed, but it's so subtle.
Yeah.
It's really just like something about the show, something about Jotaro himself makes you change your mind on him, even though he doesn't change that much himself.
Does he change or do you change?
Yeah.
Does he change or do you get that much better at reading what's been going on the whole time?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Do you think after, they defeat Dio and they come home, is Jotaro finally much nicer to his mom?
I hope so.
Does he stop calling her a bitch?
I think so. I think he absolutely is nicer to his mom after this.
Yeah.
Because, like, she has proven herself right and demonstrated that he does have, that he does care. He would not have traveled halfway around the world and nearly died 20 times if he didn't care.
Yeah.
He can't pretend anymore.
Yeah, right. I also like that when they call from the submarine and Jotaro has to talk to her very, very briefly or something like that. She's like so excited to hear his voice and stuff, and it's just so adorable. I still think there's like this like vibe that perhaps before puberty, Jotaro was a nicer boy. Like there's a picture that she looks at that's like his mom, there's a picture Susie Q looks at that's of Holly and Jotaro, I think when he was first going into like high school.
Yeah.
And he's like
little baby in short pants. Yeah.
He's smiling, you know, like, and he's like a little bit younger than he is now, but it's like, I don't know, maybe he was like, maybe he only recently had this like really tough guy streak, and we just didn't get to see what Jotaro is like before he had this tough guy streak in high school. I don't know.
If it weren't for that actual picture that exists, I think I brought this up when we watched the first 3 episodes of this a long ass time ago. Holly is running towards the jail cell that Jotaro is in, and she's so worried about him, and like all these memories of Jotaro being this super nice boy flash by, and I posited, what if these events never happened and Holly just thinks her son can do no wrong, so she just imagines him being this super nice boy, even though he's always been a little rascal. But no,
those little rascals putting people in the hospital and
crushing all of their balls.
Crushing all balls. How come we never see that special move?
Oh my God.
They set it up. That never pays off.
Damn it, that should have happened to Dio.
Yeah, he should have crushed Dio's balls at the end.
Oh, that's not Dio's balls, though. It's Jonathan's.
That's Jonathan's balls, so that's why he can't go after him.
Damn it.
They're the family jewels, literally.
You cannot harm your great-great-grandfather's balls. You cannot. At some distance, those balls are responsible for him. He can't touch them. Can't touch them.
No. It's because of those balls that any of us are here talking right now about these events.
And that's why you have to watch part 1. You have to respect Jonathan Joestar and his balls.
And his balls.
Yeah, Jotaro should have crushed somebody's balls along the way. Probably Dan of Steel.
No, probably fucking Alessi.
Alessi, yeah.
I mean, at that height, he probably punched him in the balls.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, actually.
He had like a whole cone of effect. The balls must have been in the zone.
Yeah.
That's true. I guess then Dan of Steel. That would be the next one.
Because that guy was just a jerk. Fuck that guy.
He sucked. Who would least deserve their balls to be crushed?
Out of all the enemy stand users?
Yeah. Maybe the orangutan.
I don't know. The orangutan's a fucking creep.
I just feel like it's like unethical to crush the balls of an endangered species. I don't know.
But he's a super smart ape. Like, I think that changes things.
Ape balls are very, very small. They're hard to hit.
But
Star Platinum is so
very
precise. If there's any stand designed for punching small balls, it's Star Platinum. There's even later on, there's the aided help of being able to stop time. How more precise can you get? You got seconds to line up the shot.
Oh, okay. I think the stand user that least deserves to have their balls destroyed is probably Oingo Boingo, because they're so inept.
Oh, yeah, they're just dumb.
They'll
they just
do it themselves. They'll step on a rake.
Yeah, they'll just turn the page and it'll just say someone's balls are about to get annihilated, and then it'll be them instead.
Who's? We just don't know. By the way, Oingo Boingo, my favorite band, because I'm an idiot.
Yeah, I think I actually forgot to bring that up when we did the Oingo Boingo episodes, that was your favorite band that you foreshadowed in the last time you guessed it, so there we go.
It was Oingo Boingo. That's the answer for those of you who are on the edge of your seat since the last time I was on the podcast.
Months ago. So unless we got anything else to talk about, I think it's finally time to confront Kakyoin's egg.
So have you not talked about Kakyoin's egg?
We have been foreshadowing Kakyoin's egg for weeks.
Yeah.
It's like Chekhov's gun. It's Kakyoin's egg.
And now we're in Act 3. It's time to fucking fire that thing.
We're gonna get closure on this egg.
So in 1994, the artist collective known as Clamp started publishing a series of JoJo's Part 3 Doujinshi, where Kakyoin and JoJo, after having their adventures in Egypt, this is an alternate telling where nobody died.
Everyone's fine.
Everyone's fine. And so as soon as they get back, JoJo forces Kakyoin to sign a marriage certificate, basically at gunpoint, at Star Platinum point. And so now they're married. And in the second or third of these strips, Kakyoin lays an egg and becomes the mother to their child.
After they had some off-screen sex, which everyone else heard them having.
No, everyone watched via Hermit Purple on a TV.
Oh,
yes.
Ew, Grandpa, no.
And out pops Jota Kujo, their egg child.
Who ages very quickly. Mm-hmm. Within like a month or something, he's like a teenager.
And it looks almost exactly like just a more Bishonen, Jotaro.
And has his own stand that looks like a fusion of Star Platinum and Hierophant Green. Charmy Green.
Yeah, I forget what the powers of Charmy Green are.
So Clamp, if you don't know, they are the all-lady team behind Cardcaptor Sakura and lots of other hits that are not coming to my mind right now.
X, I think was them, whatever it was called.
X-Holic? I don't know.
Code Geass.
That was Clamp?
Was that them?
Yeah, absolutely. Why do you think Lelouch looks like that?
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. Should bring up this entire multiple, issues doujinshi is called JoJo's Bizarre Married Life. And I was looking up Charmy Green's powers, and I thought they had something more unique, but it just has Emerald Starfinger. And the Uriya Rush, which is just, punching really fast.
Doesn't roll off the tongue the same as Ura.
No. Araki on Twitter has claimed that JoJo's Bizarre Married Life is now canonical.
How? One of them dies.
Yeah.
The thing that strikes me after reading all of these is you would expect it to be more about itself. But things just sort of happen and people react to them, and it's all very there's no impact to anything. Like
No.
I wouldn't say there's a plot.
JoJo and Kakyoin, it is about their married life. They very rarely even share a panel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredibly chaste, given that they
yeah.
were peeping Tommed on by their dad or whatever.
Yeah. They
I do love that issue because of how everybody it is a classic joke structure where out of nowhere Joseph decides as their grandfather I have a right to see what my grandson and his wife. Kakyoin is constantly referred to as a wife and a mother.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's strictly gendered, their relationship. What my grandson and his wife get up to, and then Avdol's like, yes, correct, that makes sense. Anyway, I named Star Platinum, which kind of makes me related to JoJo too, so I also have that right.
yeah.
And Polnareff says, well, as their friends, I also claim this right. And so we have like a rule of threes, and then they watch them in their marital bed, and then all immediately regret it, like, whoops, that's the punchline. They all wanted to, but it turns out they didn't want to.
The issue immediately after that whole fucking thing has Kakyoin learning how to be a better wife by having Holly teach him how to make breakfast. And Dio shows up for breakfast he's just there in one panel. And I love this English translation, at least the version of this you can read on archive.org. He appears and he's supposed to be doing the Uri shriek he does, but it's all fucked up. How it's spelled. So it just looks like Dio appears and just screams some fucking gibberish. It's spelled as A-Ray-Ray. And then he just says immediately after screaming, looks like I, Dio, will be having breakfast. And he's come prepared with his own personal set of chopsticks.
You thought it was breakfast, but it was me, Dio.
So yeah, the joke is in seeing these characters, I guess, that we have followed for years. I mean, by the point you get to the conclusion, turned into the most like one-dimensional images of themselves, and seeing how those versions bounce off each other. So yeah, Dio is just showing up like the weird neighbor in a sitcom to eat breakfast.
He's the Kramer.
And he is defeated by the fact that Kakyoin is still very bad at cooking food. He cannot stand it. He pukes his guts up, and then the world is saved. But JoJo, because he loves his wife so much, can eat the breakfast and keep it down.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. It's very good.
Someone draw Dio as Kramer or Kramer as Dio, please.
It was me, Cosmo.
So instead of Kramering through the door, is the Dio version of Kramer just suddenly appearing in a room via the world?
Yeah, and the audience loves it.
He stops time, Kramers through the door, closes the door, and then time starts.
Yeah, you just hear, and then he's just there.
The audience loses their shit every time.
But yeah, then it's the egg one. The egg one.
Egg.
I was expecting so much more out of this legendary egg one.
Yeah,
it's
right?
kind of a letdown when you actually see it, isn't it?
There's just an egg, and everybody's like, Kakyoin, is this your egg? And he's like, yeah, I guess so. And then the egg cracks, and there's a baby in it.
It's like the
So-
same
That's the whole thing.
the same page. Like it just happens. Like there's no lead up. There's no pregnancy. It's just one day. egg
Egg
happens.
in bed.
I expect more out of my M per egg. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I do too. I wanted some Lita.
So when I looked this up a couple weeks ago, my main curiosity was, how big is this egg?
Yes.
And I thought it was going to be like the size of a normal-ass egg. An egg a human could feasibly pass out of their body, and it's the fucking size of Polnareff.
My expectation of this egg was not as small as a chicken egg you thought it was?
I was thinking it was going to be like a chicken egg, yeah.
How can a baby come from a chicken egg?
I don't
It's gonna
know.
be so tiny.
How can an egg come out of Cockyween?
It works for baby chickens.
But it would be such a tiny baby. I thought it was going to be like a baby-sized egg, like a football-shaped egg.
Right.
And somehow Kakyoin would pass this egg. But yeah, I did not expect it to be the size of fucking Polnareff.
Yeah.
I don't know why that baby had such a roomy egg that it came in. Because the baby is baby size, not Polnareff size.
Yeah, that baby's got like a full executive suite inside that egg.
The infamous panel is just Kakyoin crouched on the floor, holding a giant fucking egg the size of his torso, shouting, "Kakyoin, did you lay this egg?"
Polnareff.
Or Polnareff, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Polnareff holding the egg saying, "Kakyoin, did you lay this egg?"
Joseph immediately understanding that seeing an egg equals grandson, great-grandchild. He immediately goes over to Kakyoin to start shaking his hand and congratulating him. "Thank you for laying this egg. I'm a great-grandfather now."
He's so accepting. Like, it's just beautiful. It's very, very like, modern-minded boomer. Not only is his son gay married to his wife Kakyoin, but his wife Kakyoin had an egg. And he's immediately like, can't wait to meet my grandchild. This is great.
One thing that the comic does make sure we remember is that JoJo is still a high school senior as he is a teen dad.
Yes.
And Kakyoin is 1 year behind in school because they all got held back because they missed so much school fighting Dio.
I had a doctor's note.
So, yeah, like the same panel the egg is discovered, Jota Kujo just punches his way out of the egg and already has a Jotaro-style attitude.
Is he born with the hat?
No. They do get him a little hat, though.
He takes after his father perhaps too much. They have a horrible rivalry.
Yeah.
They have a bad relationship, these two.
I just figured that maybe, if babies can be born from eggs, babies can also be born with hats. It's a little too fanciful. I don't know.
By the way,
crazy.
Jota's stand Charmy Green is just named after a random ass brand of dish soap they have in the house. That's how he gets his name.
Great.
Yeah.
Like, this is really like, I don't know. I understand why it's canon because it does also feel like it's just made up as it goes along and like it's a dream sequence. And if you explain it to anybody else with no context, you sound fucking insane.
So there are more adventures. Essentially, the big thing you got to know is that JoJo seems to be jealous of his egg child.
Yes.
Because he gets attention from Kakyoin, right?
Yeah, that he gets all of Kakyoin's attention and that he's really good with his stand from birth and he didn't get a cool stand until he was a teenager. And this egg baby grows up really fast. Like the 1 week old, this baby is going to school.
I don't get the point of making a story where they're having a domestic life and raising a baby if they don't get to raise a baby.
They don't get to raise a baby. That baby is a teenager when he's 10 years old.
I don't get
and then
it.
he meets the protagonist of part 4.
Yep.
So yes, I know where this guy comes from. Because I read the egg manga for this.
That sucks. That's a shitty way to find out.
It is really funny to go through this manga and see the Stardust Crusaders art style slightly morphed into the Clamp style. It's like halfway between.
They're also leggy.
Yeah.
They're leggy and they lay eggy.
So if I remember correctly, Grant, I think you've told me this before, there's a more than one Clamp thing where somebody lays an egg child.
I'm always... The egg always reminds me of a specific episode of Revolutionary Girl Utena, which is from a different artist collective shared nom de plume. Beepopus? Beepopus? I've never heard it
Beepuses.
pronounced. B-papas. Beepopus.
Egg papas.
You heard it here, everybody. Bee papas.
Beepopus. There's nothing more fun than making babies.
Whether egg or otherwise. We don't judge how that baby's made.
Egg Papa sounds like a 90s band that had a one-hit wonder.
Yes, Egg Papa's opening for Cherry Poppin' Daddies.
That's the one I was thinking of. Okay, there you go. Thank you.
So the big question that I'm sending out into the world is this direct inspiration? Because the married life of JoJo came first. Is this just a broader thing in the culture that I only know 2 examples of? Is this
Googling.
a wild coincidence? I don't
Googling
know. I don't
anime
know.
egg babies. Not getting anything.
Like, there's something about it that really does feel like, especially in like the doujinshi / kind of like fanzine scene of the late 80s and early 90s.
Is this the 90s Omegaverse? Is this the question that you're bringing to the table?
Yes, basically. It really
I think
does
it might
feel...
be. So I found some more information from the Dragon Ball wiki. The title, the title of this page is "Birthing an Egg,"
Cool.
also called Tamago wo umu. It's an ability used by the Dragon Clan to spit out eggs containing their children from their mouths. It is
Piccolo.
It is the Namekian's asexual reproduction. It is used by King Piccolo.
You just puke out an egg, and there you
That's
are.
your baby.
I wish we saw Kakyoin doing that, though.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna ask, but I didn't know if it was proper to. What hole did the egg come out of, do you think?
Kakyoin doesn't seem to know, which tells me I don't want to know.
Yeah.
How do you, do this overnight and not notice it happening?
Maybe it's stand magic.
Maybe Hierophant Green did it. Maybe it wasn't him. Maybe
okay.
it came out of his stand. He just opened up the weird gas mask and blah, there out an egg comes. And Hierophant Green is stretchy.
Emerald Lay. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, Emerald Lay. And, Hierophant Green is stretchy, so it works.
That does work.
Dio, you're within a 20-meter web. My stand is fully dilated.
Oh, no. I could give birth from any direction. And you'll have to deliver.
I can't deliver your baby if I don't get closer to you.
The JoJo's married life is fun. It's absolutely fun. I like it. I think people should check it out. I don't know why it's infamous. I think it's the reputation it has can only come from secondhand tellings.
Yeah, I think that's definitely part of it. And I think it's just the history of just, being squicked out by Mpreg stuff and the history of lol wacky Japan pseudo-racism, Japan's so crazy,
The egg thing really isn't as weird as it sounds.
It isn't. It really isn't, especially in the context of
one
JoJo's
panel.
Bizarre Adventure. It's probably one of the least weird things that has happened in the JoJo universe when you think about it.
To read it, the takeaway is, oh, well, that's a fun way for people to... That's a fun take on these characters. This is just light and whimsical, and okay, I get it. But to hear it mythologized...
Yeah.
Right?
It's a completely different beast.
The reputation is way different than the reality.
I thought there was going to be a page or 2 of Kakyoin actually fucking giving birth or something. We have to go
there would be some sort of gory labor scene of some sort.
I thought it wasn't going to be gory, but it was going to just be like, oh no, Kakyoin is pregnant, and we got to take him to the hospital, and then it's just cut to, and he's holding an egg, and he had to pay extra for the egg on skin contact.
The way that people talked about it, I thought there would be something gory about it. It's incredibly chaste. It's incredibly,
The stork delivered an egg.
Yeah, it's very, almost childlike and adorable. It's not as weird as its reputation implies.
The one part of this entire married life saga that I think would carry the weight of all the stuff talked about is JoJo forcing Kakyoin to marry him.
That is so much weirder.
It says a lot about this version of JoJo that I love you so deeply, I'm not going to allow you to say no. And it's not that Kakyoin wants to say no, it's that he doesn't ask, he gets told. And that says something. That's interesting. There's grist there. There's not grist in the egg baby. It's just a weird novelty.
When Jotaro and Kakyoin go to have sex, it's also similar to the forced marriage thing where it's like Jotaro acts like a fucking caveman and just drags Kakyoin to the bedroom.
God.
And Kakyoin is just like, here we go again.
That husband of mine.
That's my husband.
Yeah.
It's very, like, the gender roles are very interesting
Yeah.
here and very, like, from a Western perspective, off-putting. But there is, like, I don't know, there's, like, some sort of fetishy, like, oh, I wish a man would just ravage me. It's sort of, like, thing, like, sort of psychology going on here that it's, like, in real life, that would be kind of fucked up and you probably wouldn't actually really want that to happen. There is that element of it, but it is, like, so chaste. Everything about it is so pure otherwise that it's just like off-putting to kind of see that.
Yeah.
The implication is off-putting.
Kakyoin's reaction to the whole peeping Tom story is to say, okay, I'm moving back in with my mom and dad now. See you at school tomorrow, husband.
By the way, there's a couple panels here where, like, Polnareff, there's a part where everyone's sitting down to go watch the Hermit Purple TV to see what Jotaro and Kakyoin are doing, and they're all rationalizing why they're allowed to watch this. And Polnareff says, "I, as their friend, have a right to see, right, Iggy?" And Iggy says, "Uggy, uggy." Uggy, uggy.
Uggy, uggy.
Pretty judgmental. I think they're rather handsome young lads.
Also, when in this version of the manga, when I flip from that page to the next page, there's like a cover page, and it's mostly the JoJo characters, but also there's a couple characters from a different anime. There's like a Getter Robo thing, and also Sonic the Hedgehog is there.
What?
He's right next to Iggy.
Link me. I need to see Clamp Sonic the Hedgehog.
The big robot they're all in the hand of is actually Giant Robo.
Oh,
but
sorry,
okay,
Giant
I'll
Robo.
let it slide. I'll let it slide.
I'm not
so
familiar
tiny.
enough. Yeah, Sonic's really little. He's about the size of Iggy.
Little.
Giant Robo's pretty great.
I do like the design of Giant Robo.
You should check out that OVA.
I should.
Kind of like not the best drawing of Sonic the Hedgehog. I thought it would be a little better looking.
He's a little wonky, yeah.
He's a little funny looking. His feet are a bit
The JoJos look great, but
yeah, they're just not used to drawing hedgehogs, I guess.
I like that Jota is just Jotaro, but tinted a little green.
He's got like no DNA from Kakyoin, even though Kakyoin laid the egg.
I think Kakyoin's DNA just removed the cheek lines off of Jota's face. He didn't inherit those.
Do you think they ever had any other kids?
You think they went for the whole dozen? What do you
Yeah,
I think no, because Jotaro was too worried about being jealous of a second child. His heart wouldn't be able to take it.
Well, I feel like, maybe, once Jotaro is not, 17, maybe he'll mature and not be super jealous of another child, of a baby. Love the idea of Jotaro being jealous of a baby at all. He wasn't jealous of the baby with the stand.
Well, that's because it was an evil baby. This is a baby that was born good, but just with an attitude, so.
What other stands did Kakyoin fight? Was it just the baby stand that was like kind of a Kakyoin solo fight?
Hanged Man and Whole Horse.
Well, that was with Polnareff, though.
You just mean solo fights?
He was one-on-one with Darby Younger. He fought Star
but-
Platinum.
Yeah, but I mean like successfully.
I mean, with solo fights, nothing really.
Yeah, that's a very short list.
That's true. That's true.
Avdol's is shorter, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for some reason, I feel like I think of Stardust Crusaders and I think of Kakyoin as like the last character I list, just in general, like characters I remember of the main crew. Like I would list Iggy as a more impactful persona than Kakyoin for some reason.
Yeah, but he's a poop-loving freak. I love that boy.
I feel like Kakyoin doesn't have as much personality as the dog. I don't know why. And he only got to fight that baby stand. And I feel like I don't remember any other really pivotal moments where it's like, oh, thank God Kakyoin was here to do this.
Yeah.
The lovers, though, he had a big role in.
Yeah. Kakyoin left a bigger impact on me this time around, just because I gained a greater appreciation for all the little moments of him that are easy to like miss or forget about.
That's true. And knowing that he lays an egg eventually, kind of just,
like little things like him being the good boy goober, where there's the Yellow Temperance fight where there's an imposter of Kakyoin for most of it, and then the real one shows up and they're like, "Where were you?" And he was just like sunbathing in your fucking school uniform, and he's like, "Yeah, of course, I'm gonna represent my school always."
That's the real one. That's the one.
He's subtly strange in how committed he is to being a good boy,
The cherry thing is so strange.
Yeah.
I feel like he has very strong individual moments, but I forget about him in the bigger scheme of things, I guess. Because like
Yeah.
the baby stand is so memorable. The cherry thing is so memorable, especially in the Japanese dub, because it's like
But now that I have the extra made-up canon of him being a MILF-loving gamer, I fucking love it now. It's great.
It's all in the text, though. That's not made up at all.
I guess so,
MILF.
you're right.
MILF loving, egg laying gamer.
I just realized that it's a shame that Kakyoin doesn't live on to later parts, because there are more MILFs to come, and he never gets to see them.
So tragic.
He misses out on so much.
R.I.P. Kakyoin, he never scored.
In future episodes, you're just going to be like, man, Kakyoin would have loved this if he was with us.
Yup.
He never lived to see the PlayStation.
He didn't. Man, he only got as far as the Super Nintendo.
Well, maybe in the Egghead canon,
That's true.
he
Yeah.
goes on to continue.
That's
his
why
gaming
it's canon. Because it's the happy ending they all deserve. Kakyoin gets to buy a PS2.
He gets to play the latest Gran Turismo. He seems to like racing games, so...
Yeah. So he's so excited at the launch of every generation. There's a new racing game just for him.
career. New Forza.
He's the guy. They're making them all for it.
Yeah.
Every console
Cars
launch.
are so shiny.
Look at the fully modeled interiors. My goodness. Look at this carbon hood.
I can carry so many eggs in this bad boy.
Look at this hot hatch. How many eggs go in there?
Oh boy. Okay, so
Now we're just talking about Kakyoin thinking about cars, so I think we're hitting the end point.
so thank you again for joining us, not only for the end of part 2, but the end of part 3, VoidBurger. Where would you like to point people to check out some of the things you do?
Oh, I'm just VoidBurger on all the things that matter. Twitter and YouTube. I post my VODs and my streams and Let's Plays and stuff on VoidBurger Gaming on YouTube. I'm on Twitch. I stream weekly, give or take. And I'm making a video essay type show for GiantBomb.com. Ooh, here's a fun thing. I have a coupon code. Can I talk about my coupon code?
Yeah.
Please, yeah.
My show on Giant Bomb is a premium show, so only the first episode is free to watch if you don't have a premium account. Sawi, it's a paywall situation, but you can have a month for free, a whole month for free. If it's a new account, can't use it if you already have one, but you can sign up for a new account, select monthly as the account type, do the CAPTCHA, create the account. On the billing page, you have to put in that you're using a gift card, and you just enter the code VoidBurger. No capitalization, just all lowercase, VoidBurger, no spaces, and you just type that in the gift card number field. And then you'll be taken to like a payment page, and you put the coupon code in there, and it's all good, and you have free 30 days of Giant Bomb. Check out all those cool shows, including my show, which is also cool. There's only 2 episodes as of, but, you know, you can use
There'll
it
be
until there'll be more, and I think you can use this until the end of the year. And they're not going to screw you over where it's like they're going to, charge your credit card without telling you or anything like that. You get a big email warning before that happens, so you can cancel your card and not get charged for it. So enjoy that free month of Giant Bomb Premium. Thank you for your support. I don't get to shill that coupon code very often.
And also the Giant Bomb videos that you help create but are not on camera for.
Yes, I am currently the editor of the Very Online Show, which has Jeff Bakalar, Tamora Hussein, and Lucy James, and they're all very lovely. 2 of them have incredibly charming accents. It's a great listen as well as a great watch. But they basically talk about weird internet phenomena and why those internet phenomena happen. It's not a meme discussion show. Don't get us wrong here. It's definitely not about memes. It's about like how, the modern internet has been built, like the algorithmic reasons why you see the things you see online and all sorts of cool shit like that. It's really interesting. There's a lot of research that Lucy and Timur put into it, and it's really fun to edit. Like, they're very, very funny. They're all very funny. So check that show out too. That's also on Giant Bomb Premium. And there's 1 or 2 free shows that you can watch, and I did one of them. I did the one about OnlyFans. The first couple episodes were Jan's edits, but now I'm on them. It's cool.
Yeah.
Maybe more projects in the future. Who knows?
And thank you all for joining us. As we, like I said last week, we could have talked about the end of Stardust Crusaders for 4 hours.
Yep.
And between these two runtimes added together, I've proven myself correct.
You did.
So thank you all for joining us. However, speaking of the future, this program, Bizarre Podcast Dogs Must Die, will not be in the near future. We are taking a short break to build back up our legendary backlog that has allowed things like unbroken uploads to this point for 34 episodes. Pretty proud of that.
Wow, that's amazing,
very
though.
good.
For real.
Thank you so much for editing these, Grant.
No problem.
Excellent
And
job.
also, having a buffer that lets that happen when life gets in the way or when we're doing other things with our time. And also, it's let me be relatively unspoiled, except for when Clamp gets in my head. While still able to participate in like the discussions around the show, because I know how it is. You can't help but say something that, oh, whoops, I forgot that doesn't happen for another 5 weeks. I get it. I know how it happens.
Yeah.
So the backlog helps insulate me from that sort of thing.
That's very tactical. Honestly, that's a really good idea.
So that means we are going to kick off the beginning of part 4. The first 3 episodes, we'll be discussing those on November 15th, an episode that comes out November 15th. Not so fast. That next episode coming at you November 15th is going to be on the first 2 episodes of Part 4, Diamond is Unbreakable. In the middle of recording that episode, we decided to limit our scope, so in 1 month's time, you'll hear us do exactly that and find out why. Talk to you then.
I cannot wait for part 4. It's really good.
I love part 4 also.
Yeah, with that, take a little break, and we'll be seeing you all with part 4, Diamond is Unbreakable. I love that name. I don't know what it means about the show, this part at all, but it sounds dope.
I bet the dogs are very breakable, though.
Because they're not Diamond Dogs. It's a completely different long-running franchise.
Exactly.
Dogs are fragile.
Dogs are fragile.
And I'm going to go hug mine. To be continued.
See you later, everybody.
Bye.